morning, everyone. I apologize. We have a lot on our plate. I have 3 hearings today. I have to prepare for all of them. Different. I have a blue ribbon. I have the health now, and then I have a bicameral conference committee before the blue ribbon after lunch. So I hope you don't mind. I know that you had a technical working group meeting. Has everybody more or less agreed on the bill? Are there any snags on the bill that you want to raise at the moment so that we can fix the bill? I'm trying to, I have a very high sense of urgency on the bill. I don't know about you, but I think there must be a high sense of urgency because if we don't, well, people die. No? People are in an economic prison and a physical prison, if you will. So what I'd like to know is what the position of all of you experts are on the bill. So if all of you are agreed, then we will draft the bill and present it on second reading, because I have not heard any objection so far. This moment, I'm not done. And if there are any objections, you may raise them now. This is something that is not nagbubulaga. This is something that all of you have been debating on for years. And now that it's here, would you like another hearing, pa? Or I don't want to rush it, but if you think that there's another hearing that is needed after your technical working group, I'm willing to do that. I don't want a bill that is malasado. I want a bill that's good, no? That will be implemented. I don't want any hesitation when, at least that's my point of view. You have your own point of view. My view is the moment somebody opts out, that is the time he's not going to be brought into the program. General rule, everybody is presumed to have opt-in, and if something happens, there is a long line of people who need the organ, and I understand from your technical working group that you all agreed that whoever is a perfect match will have priority. There's a hierarchy in the assignment of the liver, of the organ. No? If that is the case, I'm agreeable to that. But after that, my question next is, I will ask this later on, is what about those who may not be 100%? Is it possible to have a transplant if it's not 100%? I can see some of you are nodding your head. I just want to know what is the threshold that we can put in the bill. And I want to know whether you have a group already, an ethics group that will be in every hospital. I do not want to leave anything to an IRR. Bills die with IRRs. You know, some people think that just because they're doing an IRR, they can change the bill. But the thrust of the bill is clear to me. There's obviously, I'm not going to call it a mild epidemic all over the world. 2 million people die, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct, all over the world? And in our country, we will have at least 120,000 dying of diabetes related, that's for kidneys. But I'm not even talking about corneal transplant, we're not even talking about liver, we're not even in lungs, or maybe we are, or in heart transplant. But eventually we will reach that point. So I'd like to hear from any of you now whether we're on the right track, or whether we can put it on track, or whether we should proceed with another meeting. I will adjourn this at about 11, no? 11? And then I will, and maybe I can extend a little bit, but so I will start now. Are there any positions that have not been heard so far? The lady who was the Attorney Ivy Patu. Have we, do you have any new one? Ms. Patu, were you here last time, were you?
No, Your Honor. Good morning. This is my, unfortunately, we were not able to participate in the technical working group of this hearing.
Yes, go ahead. What is your
it seems that I am alone on this side. I hope that, you know, my position will,
don't worry. When you're
will not be new.
Everything.
I think our concern from the National Privacy Commission, on the data protection side, I think that will be
What
fairly...
is your group, first and foremost? National?
National Privacy Commission.
Yes.
But I think part of the reason I'm invited here is because I'm also a lawyer and a doctor. So I have been involved in fields of medical ethics and risk management in hospitals. So my primary, our primary concern for this bill is that it is based on presumed consent. Based on the reading of the introductory part, it presumes consent. Our question is, are we really ready for this? And do we have data upon which we can base the assumption of a presumed consent?
But that is always the eternal question. Are we ready for it? Anything I should do. Are we ready to go to the moon? Are we ready to create any new activity in this country? And in this country, especially after a colonial hangover, we're always thinking in terms of hesitation. Now, basically, in business, or for that matter, in politics, or anything that I have ventured on, I'm a risk taker. And I look at the odds. I look at the whole thing. And from what I've seen, we have had a previous bill, and that bill says opt-in. Unfortunately, and this is where the crux of the matter lies, correct me if I'm wrong, is when you're about, what is the word for it again? Recover or retrieve an organ. The question is, a family member will say, no, we're not ready for various reasons. You're a lawyer like me, but you have an advantage. You're also a doctor, right? So when somebody is going out to take and retrieve an organ, even if he opts in, maharang. Now, to my mind, again, the issue is you discuss brain dead and you discuss all kinds of definitions. We'll have to determine kung kailan pwede yan. That's why I say ethics is important here. Now, what is your position? You're not ready? Are you saying we're not ready?
I think in this particular instance, there are risks that we take. I'm divided because, like you, I know you've worked with Your Honor with Red Cross. I know that you want to save lives, and there's no question that if there are more organ donors, we will save lives. But I think here we have to look at whether Filipinos will really assume, whether our assumption that Filipinos will naturally agree to organ donation is really based on fact. If our current opt-in system has poor results, then maybe this has to be viewed with a wider lens. When we talk about the right to privacy, which is essentially the right to be let alone, considered as a comprehensive right, one aspect of this is decisional privacy, which is the right of a person, to have that degree of control over his individual decisions. If this presumed consent is not actually based on consent because people, for so many various reasons, will not agree to donate their organ, then essentially it will be an exercise of the state power
really on the educational
to intervene.
Everybody, we're not going to go pell-mell, rush into this. There's got to be a tremendous education campaign, and we're putting that in the bill. So that everybody and his uncle will know that we are now eligible, and if you don't like it, go right away to the either PhilHealth or whatever it is, either the Department of Health, or later on with the national ID system.
The education campaigns, we have not seen how it has been maximized for the opt-in system. How will we be assured that we have exhausted opportunities? Like, for instance,
I intend to keep this group intact until we are able to successfully market it.
Making it mandatory, for instance, for hospitals to immediately ask at the earliest opportunity all patients coming in. There are many strategies.
You were not here earlier, and you remember, everybody, I said, bills fail, laws fail, because they're not understood very well by the public, they're not enforced properly, and therefore we have to have an advertising campaign all throughout the enforcement of this bill. Now, I'm sorry if the opt-in system did not work. I opted in, and I went to NKTI, I was very impressed by it, but I find that only about 5 or 6 people are practically being, there may be more, no? But in reality, let me just say that failure or success of any endeavor, like this afternoon, I say, I'm very busy today. I'm going to deliver, and I may be delivering a privileged speech on the killings in this country. We accept things, sir. I grew up not accepting things the way they are. I grew up saying, not because there is, I accept it. I grew up saying, this is what it should be. All right? And we are a more vocal world today. There's loads and loads of information on the internet now. I think there's a better chance now to really expand this. We can do this in grade school and high school. Right now, I think Susie is now with the Red Cross. I'm sending her over to a conference in education tomorrow. Wednesday tomorrow. And this will be not just organizing Red Cross groups in every school that we have already signed for many years ago, but was never implemented. So now we're trying to implement it so that now we're realizing disasters are killing our people, are maiming our economy, maiming our own personal lives. So we really just have to lead and passionately try and make sure that we make a difference in the lives of people.
In which case,
the opposite side is you had opt-in, and nobody ever shook a fist against people lining up in the informed what do you call that, in the squatter area, informal settlers area, Baseco. Public knowledge, everybody was lining up, and nobody. Have you ever heard of anybody arrested for selling his organs?
No, Your Honor, but I've heard of cases wherein people become upset when their relatives' organs are donated if they are unaware of the consent given by their relative. But in which case, Your Honor, I think
you have a right to privacy, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do I have a right without telling my wife I want to give my organ?
Yes, Your Honor.
I have a right to do that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do they have a right to interfere with my decision? Especially when I'm in articulo mortis or practically dead?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And that is the problem I have with the opt-in. There are many reasons that come in, either cultural, and I accept that, personal, and I accept that, we were not informed, he's the only one who did it, or sometimes worse, may pera ba tayo dyan? Magpakita muna kayo ng pera para magbigay yung kamag-anak ko, kumita kami. That is why, one of the things I said, and this is a subject of debate, was an incognito group that would just give, for the sake of giving, not knowing who's going to get it, but at least following the kosher, kung may nagbigay at give it, then, meron siya makukuha kung gusto niya kumuha. Di ba? And that's even debatable. That's even ethically being debated on, even as I speak.
Your Honor, but even in 2 points only. First, if we are to push for this opt-out system,
nobody's pushing.
Then we have
when
to.
When this bill is approved, people will have to. That's why we have this.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's why we have this.
So we have to consider the manner of the opt-out system and how it will reach geographically isolated areas. I think that there should, Your Honor, like for instance, if there's registration for the PhilSys ID system, then the opt-out system should be part of it. I mean, there are many ways. No?
I agree with you.
But even then, I'm worried about those that we cannot always reach, wherein maybe they will be presumed to have consented to this, not because they actually consent.
Dwell on, let us say, a duty to save somebody else when yours is not. It's like somebody threw a grenade here, and somebody jumped over the grenade and had a family, and he did it out of duty to save everybody else.
What do you mean?
Well, is that presumed consent? He just did it on his own.
Yes, Your Honor, but there's a positive act. Here, we have to make sure that they actually consent to it. Otherwise, it will be the state saying, we will presume that you're giving consent.
No, because
if
we're
very few percent actually want to donate their organs and we have presumed consent, then unless...
Well, we have to produce language, don't we? Because of our inability to have an exact way to say it, we're just using presumed consent loosely. But obviously, everybody's got to know, malalaman nila lahat. Ito ang mangyayari, lahat tayo magbibigay. Kung ayaw mo, kailangan pupunta ka rito. Kakalat yan eh, hindi maaaring hindi kumalat eh. And by the way, that is the reason why the biggest problem here is to register, as you say, in the ID system. Malaking problema yan. Sama ka, kasabihan mo mga eskwela, mag-rehistro, lahat kayo, ganito lang, saan kayo magre-rehistro kung ayaw nyo?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe that's a problem, how to make it accessible, easy, free from stigma, free from fear of making that opt-out decision if indeed they want to opt out. And second, Your Honor, indeed, if this bill is the will of the legislative and the people, then we should consider alternatives like a soft opt-out system, which is what is being done in many countries like Spain, where I think, it took 10 years for them before their organ donation rate picked up, but they have a soft opt-out system. Why this one is really very rigid, with no opportunity at all. It only exempts minors and those that are incapacitated.
That's why you're here, aren't you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Teach me. Teach us. Help us.
No,
Not just say, I don't like it, basta ayoko.
Yes, indeed, Your Honor.
We are very famous for that. We know what we do not want, but we don't know what we want. I want to know what you want.
Okay, first, what I want,
what do you want?
What we want, if it would still be possible, is to push for a massive campaign for an opt-in system wherein we can actually get the choice of the people. I'm concerned about the exercise of state power on a matter that goes into the individuality of a person.
You're a lawyer, aren't you?
Yes, so that's why I have alternatives,
You're a
Your Honor.
lawyer. What is a basic principle in law? Ignoratio legis non excusat.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right? Ignorance of the law does not excuse anybody. Everybody is presumed to know the law.
And it is in that particular scenario where the concerns for privacy happen. Now, that is my first alternative.
When I was mayor of Olongapo, you can ask Secretary Ona, I think he was before his time, there was a concern for privacy that I really was upset about. HIV was coming into the picture. And I belong to what you call derisively. I really bristled at it. They're saying, Sin City kayo, kaya may HIV kayo. And yet, the real privacy that I know, that nobody ever exposed, is because we were doing something about HIV in my city. We were being blamed. And I was taking the punches, all right? But the real punches in Manila, nobody was looking at it. In Pasay, nobody was looking at it. Now, just because we looked at it, kami ang pinapahirapan, kasi mga puta kayo. Unti ko na sinuntok yung maraming tao dyan. Because sabi ko, alam mo kung ba't may puta? Sa Amerika, may choice. Dito walang choice. Yun ang talagang, hindi puta yun. Sa Amerika, may choice kayo. Sa 14th Street sa Washington. Andun, may choice. You have land of the free, home of the brave, land of opportunity. I remember his name. His name was, he's from ABC News, TV. John Quinones. Sabi ko, you're Mexican, right? We never heard the word puta until the Mexican Spanish came here. And puta is a choice. Here, it's also a choice. I'm just trying to use that analogy to tell you, you can never be complete. Whether I like it or not, did I have a choice when they kicked the bases out? Everybody volunteer. Yung hindi mag-volunteer, okay, diyan kayo. Yung mag-volunteer, you are saving everybody, our reputation, na hindi na nakawin itong base, para makakuha tayo ng hanap buhay. Marami nag-volunteer. Iba di nag-volunteer. This is all volunteering. Kaya lang, tinis natin because ang problema natin palagi is pag nag-volunteer na ikaw, sabi mo sa akin, wala kang pakialam, ako nag-volunteer, papakialam mo ako, hindi na ako makalaban sa'yo. Isn't that an invasion of my right of choice? I want to give my organ, and then somebody out there, a relative, is saying, no, don't give his organ. Di ba invasion yan of my right to choose?
But that scenario will be more difficult with an opt-out system.
Why?
Because in an opt-in system, we can insist that
If
this is the
everybody was
will.
an idiot and they don't know what an opt-out system is, maybe I'll agree with you. But there will be, I'm sure there will be a debate here. Already I have a debate. I would like the media to say, no, we don't want it, but we can discuss it. But, you know, as usual, do you hear anybody debating, oh, about this guy was killed in Subic? Subic, napaka-safe na yan. Ha? May pitch na si Gordon dyan, yung ginawa niyang sistema dyan, may gate yan. They can lock it in. Binaril yung tao. To my mind. Oh, that's why I'm speaking today. To my mind, if nobody says it, if nobody puts out the stalking horse, and this is not a stalking horse, if you say you need 10 years to prepare for opt-out, how many people will die? May I ask the question of anybody here? If there are not too many organ donors, what will happen to those who need a liver? Sorry? Can you speak?
The people on the waiting list, sir, who are not given organs, then they will die.
They will die.
Yes, sir. The mortality of patients with end-stage renal disease is so much higher than the ordinary person who does not have kidney disease. So it has been shown that their survival increases once they have a kidney transplant.
I'm sorry. I'm not angry. I'm just passionate.
I understand, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Right? I'm passionate all the time. This is a cause that I've learned to embrace. I'm willing to unembrace it if you can give me a cogent reason why I should not work on this, because I think all the time, you were not here when we did the dialysis, because everybody and his uncle was calling the directors, tulungan mo naman ako, dadialyze ako, wala na yung PhilHealth ko eh. Saan tayo kukuha ng pera? Alright? So, tulungan niyo naman ako, hirap na ako. In my Facebook, andun yan, nagpapatulong sa akin yan. So, let me just say, I had to do something. So when we did something about it, an opportunity came, and another opportunity came. Japanese said, we'll give you brand new equipment because we know you work hard, you know what, all right? And that's that. Who was with me? The nephrologist group. Sino nasa nandiyan? Sa si Dr. Wala ba dito yung nephrologist? Yes, you came to me, right? Sabi niya, oh, we need transplantation. I also talked to Dr. Ona. I also talked to NKTI. I also talked to Dr. Sarmiento. Nag-birthday siya. Uy, ano ba? Marami namamatay. Kailangan, bilisan mo na. Oh, now, I need you to tell me how we can better implement.
Okay, Your Honor. I'd just like to recall one case decided by the Supreme Court which involved a lot of the institutions here. Well, there was no liability found in that case, but it involved an organ transplant of a person. The person had no relative. He was in the ER. They mistakenly, somehow along the way, there was a mistake in recording the name of the patient, and they proceeded with the transplant. It was a successful transplant, and it saved two people. But still, you know, the sentiments of the relatives, when they found out, they still filed a case because they felt that, you know, there was impropriety, or there was some, you know, the person was alive. Yes, so these are the...
Even opt out, that will happen. Even with opt-in, that will happen.
Yeah, so this is the cultural context we are in. So if we are to push, the other suggestion that I would have is...
But isn't culture changing?
Yes, Your Honor, it is changing, and we hope to change, and, you know, the...
When I was a kid, my mother went out with a panuelo. When I was a kid, you go to communion, sleeveless, hindi ka bibigyan ng communion. Culture changes. Yes, I don't mean to... Go ahead. Yes, ma'am. What is your name?
Dr. Mingita Padilla.
Ah, Mingita.
Kamusta?
Yeah, how are you?
Anyway, I just wanted to allay the fears of Attorney Panduya, because in the opt-in, you know, all of us, most of us here have been really working at organ and tissue donation for decades. And we have staked our reputations and even our lives for this, and we know what you're talking about. But I must say, and the Department of Health has done a dismal job in educating the public. Dismal job. DOH. There was no public education. That's why I agree passionately
Welcome
with
to
you.
the real world.
No, that's why. No, but you see, it was left to the NGOs to do the educational campaigns, to spend their own money. And even the other government agencies which were tasked to help, like the LTO, had a totally cavalier attitude about their responsibilities. The driver's license, we were supposed to have a card, but they just didn't do anything about it. They put it behind. Education is key. I agree with you. I agree with you. And we were discussing in the technical working group that we will spend many years educating the public, and it will be a gradual educational campaign. But I cannot agree with that we are not ready. No such thing.
Yeah.
No such thing. We are ready, but we have to really educate. And may I just, based on experience abroad, whether or not you have an opt-in or an opt-out, it is the educational campaign and the changing of attitudes, especially of the hospital workers, that matters. Because even in the hospitals, if they do not ask, it's useless. Even with the opt-in. We have many people who have signed their driver's licenses, who have organ donor cards, who tell me afterwards, how come nobody asked us? Because the hospitals failed to do so.
Yeah.
And it's that. You think maybe that's your personal attitude, but if you look outside, it's changing. And they resent it when they are not asked. So it's another way of looking at it. And having an opt-out will embolden, plus like in Singapore, at a certain age in school, they're all given kits about organ donation. If you get a driver's license, you have a seminar on organ donation. We can do the same here. Talagang aggressive education, it will happen. It will happen.
Because the passion only belongs to the legislator. The moment it's
be.
there, the bureaucrats take over. And you're correct. The NGOs must come in. And, you come out with the posters, the leaflets, that's not even going to be enough. You've got to talk to the PMA, you've got to talk to all the hospital association. Marami pang dadaanan yan. Ang sinasabi ko, I'm sorry, pag sabi mo, I'm not ready, the world is not going to wait for you and the people that are dying are not going to wait for you. Yes, Mr. William.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning again.
Also just to inform Attorney Pat Du, when the technical working group met last week on Thursday, we sort of unanimously agreed that we will still ask the families. So we are in favor of a soft opt-in or opt-out, that it will not be absolute, that if you did not opt out, they will get your organs without asking anybody else. See, this has to be, for it to work, it has to adapt to our culture. So we have seen that, and it was suggested that we implement this in phases. Maybe the first 2 years education, we will not strictly implement it yet, opt-in still until everybody gets educated.
I want to ask Dr. Padilla and any of you. Sabi niya yung mga driver's license. Ako sa Red Cross, sinabi ko, sino gusto mag-volunteer? Ako. Volunteer ako. Doon sa driver's license, nakalagay doon. Gusto ko na makuha yung lisensya ko, basta yes ka na lang na yes dyan. Pagka kinukuha na yung, kung ano, baka sabihin niya, uy, hindi ako pumapayag dyan, kung makakapagsalita lang yun. Baka sabihin niya, hindi siya pumayag. Yun ang question or the family will say that, no? And I'm going to ask Mr. Villa here, Vanessa, what is going to happen? Alright, mag-go-up out tayo, and then you're going to ask the families. How many times are you going to ask the families? Because that will be a big debate in the household. And I don't mind that. I don't mind that, Ivy, I don't mind that. But, hindi ba by doing this, you're going to have a big debate?
Yes. Part of the campaign, Your Honor, will be tell your family when you're still alive.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yes. Bring it into the discussions already, not only the families, the schools.
Tell your family when you're
We
still
will
alive.
propose.
Is that what you do in liver?
Yes, we try our best. Because when we talk about organ donation, it's multi-organ. You see, Your Honor, in liver, there is no dialysis. If they have end-stage liver disease or cancer, they die. They die. There is no...
Right away, Congressman Cayetano, tells me,
correct, yes.
My father would have lived if somebody had given us a liver early. But yung mga kung, ayoko eh. I grew up with a father and a mother said, huwag kang magsasalita na kung, o sana, o akala ko, o sayang. We have to act.
Yes.
We have to act. Yes,
so, among the... may I finish? Among the suggestions we thought of was to include it in the curriculum, maybe at high school level, maybe at age of legal age, they receive a kit, each one, link it to the ID system that will start. You know, there can be mechanisms, attorney, to spread this, and of course the educational system.
We will put it here. My goodness, we'll tell in the law, would you like me to put there that all TV and radio stations must devote at least 3 times a week in the radio program to say this?
Yes, including the educational.
Including the advocacy? We'll do that.
Yes, sir. The curricula also, maybe
Ed
can help.
Ilalagay ko yan eh. Ilalagay ko sa lahat ng law.
Then the other
Yes,
thing is,
may iba? Vanessa.
I lost my thoughts.
Don't worry, it happens to me
I
all the
raised my
time.
hand again.
Go ahead.
Totally agree with the educational thing, but even in Cornias, when people sign a donor card, we always tell them, please inform your loved ones that this is your will. And the educational, yes, the TV, yes, the soap operas, the dramas, it helped a lot when we included it, you know, social marketing, ang tawag doon.
Yeah.
You know, the plots of all these famous popular shows, no? But I was going to say, oh yeah, the first responders I think we should include them in the law. Because the first responders, the PNP, the first responders, again, the ER emergency medicine people must look for the card, whatever card there is, because there's so many people again now, and they do not look. So all these educational campaigns are useless unless the people on the ground, that we call the point of zero, ground zero, unless they look, and they look at the card, and they know who to call if they see organ donor, it's all useless. So the wish of the family of the deceased is not fulfilled. And another
I even put a dog tag.
Perhaps it's possible. I don't know. Whatever way.
That's a badge of pride.
And
Soldiers have dog tags.
a badge of pride. Aside from that, sir, Your Honor, abroad also, they said it's also eventually, educating the people who actually ask. Because they have found, and again, the LTO is key. In some states in the U.S., they have, of course, seriously taken their role, their driver's licenses. The term organ donor is in the front of the card. If we can have that in some of our cards, organ donors, nasa harap po, hindi sa likod. Okay, hindi tinatago. Tapos, they made an experiment. So all the cards, whether it's a national ID, PhilHealth, driver's license, the term organ donor should be in the front. So it's, nakikita siya, no? Tapos they made an experiment. This is just food for thought for everybody. Even with the driver's license card, when the people who asked the families asked permission, they only got 83% consent. Although the person, okay, even with a person with a driver's license that said organ donor, when they asked permission from the family, they only got 83%. But when they approached us, we would like to fulfill the wish of your loved one to be an organ donor, and we are informing you, they got 100%.
May I even make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Would it be unethical if somebody gave an organ and the guy survived and the recipient survived, and of course the donor died, di ba? Would it be unethical if you come out and say, we thank this donor, he saved somebody, di ba? And that he gets a certificate from the local government or from the Department of Health? Would that be unethical? There you go.
So not unethical, but the anonymity has to be.
Excuse me?
Yeah, there is. We normally prefer anonymity of the deceased donor.
Well, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But that's why I'm asking the question. Would that be
So,
unethical?
Not
only,
ethical,
at least
maybe
in the
just
beginning.
the timing.
At least in the beginning. Can you imagine? Cruz family, one of their family members donated. Anonymous. Hindi siya tatanggapin. Bibigay siya, nabuhay. Kung lalabas naman in a little corner in the newspaper or in the radio or a little program na ginagawa natin lahat later on. By the way, we'd like to thank and commiserate and be proud that we have a Filipino who gave a donor and somebody survived.
That's perfectly all right, Your Honor. In fact, we can have like a deceased donor day, araw ng parangal, something like this.
We have blood donor day. We give them medals. We give them certificates. Yeah. We can do this here. Yeah. And that will probably, everything, you make noise, you know,
Yeah.
finally we have something that people can hope for, and you're not, and by the way, you will have to say, you're not forced, ha? Nilagay ko yung mandatory para magkaroon ng controversy. Ba't naman mandatory? Hindi ko ayos, hindi palitan natin. O, lagyan natin na iba. Ba't? Nag-isip ka. Di ba? Bisang ganun eh. Shock treatment eh. Anybody else have a say? Oh.
Yes,
so
Your
with
Honor.
the ladies, I noticed Dr. Ona, who's supposed to be macho, doesn't talk. Go ahead.
That's fine. What I was referring to is if it happens today that the donor donated and 5 people received different organs, and then the next day it comes out in the papers with the name, then malalaman na nila kung sino. Yun po ang ibig kong sabihin. The anonymity in that sense. No? So you can reward them maybe mid-year, 1 act or 1 day that you honor all the donors.
Kasi kailangan actively participate eh. Ako, I've learned in life, sa Pilipino, kailangan pag-participatein mo sila eh. Kailangan mag-invest sila ng sarili. Pag nasubo na yan, naniniwala na sa bagong kultura na hindi naman panay-kabig eh. Kaya maraming nalulunod ang langoy natin panay-kabig eh. Minsan-minsan dapat may trading, bibigay ka sa society, di ba? Kaya maraming nalulunod, no? Kaya ang sinasabi ko, ang kailangan natin ngayon is ma-discuss ito, malaman. Hindi ba nung araw, when I was young in the Red Cross, my mother took me around, nangingi siya ng blood. Kalagay may slogan siya, give to the Red Cross. The blood you give today may save your life tomorrow. Ako, ayoko yun eh. Transactional yun eh. Ayoko yung tinanggal ko yung cross, yung ID card. Oh, meron ako card. Dapat mauna ako dyan. Ay, hindi, sabi ko, ngayon, tanggalin niyo yan. Basta lahat ng manghihingi, may dugo. Kung mahirap, hahanapan natin ang Samaritan niya. Bibigyan. Pero huwag ka magmamalaki sa akin ng dugo because that is voluntary. And as far as I'm concerned, you get your due at the next blood day and we get all that. But nobody is ever denied. Masama pa nga yan, dapat libre na ako. Oy. Alam mo, kung minsan, kahapon lang, medyo napikon na ako because I give my phone numbers out. Everybody calls me, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. At least may sasabihin, Chairman, pwede bang tulungan nyo kami, nasa Cebu kami, o nandito kami sa ganito. Ngayon, hindi, order na eh. Ito kailangan ko, pak, hindi man lang mo papaliwanag. Bisa nakakapikon na rin eh. Hindi na, tao rin naman ako eh, di ba? Magsabi ka naman na, sino ka ba? Iba, nilalako pa eh. Malakas ako dyan. Iba, maghihingi pa sa akin. Hindi pa nangangailangan yung doktor, hindi pa nagsasabi na magbibigay ng dugo. Aba, magpapasikat yan. Naikuha ko siya ng dugo. Yun, pagkatapos yun, hindi na makaka-round 2 sa akin yun. Because ginagamit ako, ako bahala, nagmamagandang loob lang. Yun ang kultura eh. And I have to fight that. I could write a book, In fact, I will try to write a book just to let people know. But this to me is important. You have to, you have to engage. Privacy is good. I mean, we're both lawyers. Di ba? Hindi na pwedeng basta kukunin ko yung organ mo, hindi ako nagsasabi sa'yo, wala kumsi-kumsa. Siyempre, even at the last moment, like, I don't know if you, medyo malayo na ito, pero si President Bush, he was dying, and he called his children, tawagan pa sila eh. Sabi sa kanya ni George Bush, W, sabi niya, you're an excellent father, or words to that effect, sabi niya, I know, I love you, sabi nilang gano'n. And then he died. But ibig sabihin, can you talk to the donor, even at in articulo mortis? Pangit naman, boss, kukunin ko yung donor. Kukunin ko yung kamo, kukunin ko yung organ mo. Napaka ko naman nun, di ba? Alam mo, nakikita ko sa TV. TV lang ito. Tinakbo. Tama yung first responder. Lahat, we have all these ambulances, let's say, dadali mo yun sa pasyente. Pagdating doon, nag-ooperate doktor. Ewan ko kung tama yung tatanungin si doktor o na yung mga doktor dyan. Oh, we have an organ donor. Sasabihin ng mag-opera sa emergency ward. Ganun ba yan, doktor? Secretary Ona? Sa Amerika, ganun, di ba? Bago niya operate, titihan. Tama yung sensor mo, isa-search. Ha? May ID o may dog tag. We have an organ donor. Yes, sir?
Yes, sir. That's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yun. And then, you don't have to have Denzel Washington in a movie na maggawa ng baril, lahat, unahin mo yung anak ko. Di ba? O yung Texas na nangyari talaga ito, yung anak ko, unahin nyo. Wala nga una eh. I agree with you eh. 100% match, unahin mo yung 100% match.
First, I acknowledge what Dr. Padilla said, no?
Yes.
But it's the reality that I was talking about. We have not exerted our full efforts. LTO has not, been asking everyone for the opt-in system. The hospitals are not asking everyone for the opt-in system. So that's the reality. But I understand your passion. So if this is really, the opt-out system is really going to push through, then the soft opt-out system, which they seem to agree on, is not in the bill. This bill does not propose a soft opt-out system which still allows.
Kasi ilagay nyo opt-out period, huwag nyo nang likutin. Ilagay nyo lang, we will confirm, we will, yes sir, Dr. Ona?
Your Honor, ngayon ko lang narinig yung so-called soft.
Ako rin, ayoko eh.
Ang ibig sabihin niya ho, that there's going to be a very massive educational program bago ito i-implement. And I think that's what you mean. And this is exactly also the intention of this law or when it is passed. Hindi naman ito ibig sabihin na pag na-sign na ng presidente, the next day lahat ito, takbuhan na kami lahat at assume or presume agad na lahat nag-sign. Hindi ganoon. As a matter of fact, I'm sure even among meron concern dito about the Muslim with regards to the position nila. But those are things that will have to be included at least in the IRR. Na hindi naman ito biglaan. There's going to be a very massive educational program. And this is true. Ito ang so-called soft opt-out system has been done in several, lahat na countries that went into this, went into a process, hindi ito something that you wake up the next day and everybody gets to be assumed or presumed to have consented.
I will even write down what you want in the advertising campaign. We should write it down. Kasi itong kailangan. My gosh. I was asked yesterday morning, 5:30 in the morning, a media man asked me, are you in favor of not suspending the taxes on oil? Because bumaba ng oil, ang threshold niyan, $80 eh. Bumaba ng, kung magsususpend pag lumampas ng gano'n after 3 months. Sabi ko, choice natin ito eh. Hindi ko pa sinagot. Actually, sinabi ko lang, I had a discussion right away with my staff. Sabi ko, tingnan nyo ha, answer the question as truthfully as you can. And Ivy asked me if I'm doing the right thing. You want universal health care. Where the hell do you think we're going to get the money for that? Where did you get the money for PhilHealth? I remember when we were debating this, maraming, mahirap yan, okay. Pero ngayon may PhilHealth. Ngayon, universal health care. Where are you gonna get the money for that? Diba, isa lang yan. Hindi ko nasasabihin pa yung iba. We need a strong army. Everybody said, I don't like yung China. Nakikingin ako doon sa debate ng mga senators kagabi. Dahil ko siya really kagabi. Sabi niya, wala naman tayong armed forces. Sabi ko, kasalanan nyo lahat yan eh. Dapat meron tayong armed forces kahit paano. Don't tell me maliit at bansa tayo. I would have my own armed forces. Hindi kasi maghihintay ako para may tumulong sa akin. At least lalaban ako. Masarap tumulong. I'm just digressing it a bit. But that is our culture eh. Ang galing nating manisi. Ang galing. We have to lay our cards on the table and put our bets. Eto, dito kami. Now, maybe not all of us are like that. But somebody has got to do that. It's the world. It's a world of people who have to push the envelope so that things will happen. Dr. Abdel.
Good morning, Your Honor.
National Ethics Committee, right?
Yes, sir. Good morning. I'm Dr. Abdullah. I represent Muslim medical professionals in the country. I want to say at this point in time, the Muslims are not ready for an opt-out system, Your Honor. Although most of the Muslim countries have declared organ donation as permissible in our religion, in Islam, they always get informed consent of the next of kin, Your Honor. For an organ to be retrieved after, even the definition itself of brain death itself, Your Honor, there's differences of opinion among religious leaders, among our jurists, on what really brain death is.
We debated that the other day. And I'll tell you something, sir. Let me just ask you a simple question. Let us say you're all in dialysis, or you all have kidneys na kailangan nyo, or you have liver, and everybody here, they will not agree. Alright? Then all of a sudden, meron siyang kamag-anak, itong nakatutok sa aking camera ito, may kamag-anak siya na nangangailangan ng liver or kidney. Pero ayaw nila. All of a sudden, one of you gets his organ, and he survives. And then, you tell the community, may nagbigay. Nag-survive. Ayaw pa kaya nila? Palagi ko hindi. Lahat ng ginawa ko sa buhay ko, I'm just telling you, I've had a long experience in government. Ayaw ko ng color code. Ba't ako mag-uniforme? Driver ako. Ano ako? May pangalan ka sa likod. Meron kang bayad. May accountability ka. Mag-iya professional. Lahat yan. Mag-volunteer ka. Ano kung niloloko lang kayo? Okay, maniwala dyan. Lolokoy tayo. Ano mangyayari dyan sa summit? Lahat. Lahat. Pati Wow Philippines. Kolokohan yan. Lahat. Pati ito Red Cross. Gagawa ng building. Ayaw namin yan. Wala tayong pera. Lahat sasabihin sa'yo. Wala. You'll be mocked. But the moment it succeeds, victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. I'm not after the victory. To me, I'm after, did you make a difference in life? Because people go through life and say, oy, takot ako dyan, ayoko yan. Pero pag nakakita na meron, pwede pala eh. Sama na ako dyan.
Your Honor.
Salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Sige.
Your Honor, it is also important that in these Muslim countries where organ donation and transplant is permissible, they have a fatwa or a ruling, by the Islamic ruling, which my fellow Muslims follow. But in the Philippines, there is yet to be a fatwa on organ donation and transplantation. And I think what we can do is actually to gather all our religious leaders in the country. They really are best scholars in the country. Gather them together, discuss this issue, and come up with a fatwa. So that it will be easy, because every Muslim, if confronted with the issue of organ donation, transplantation, we always seek the opinion of our religious leaders. But if there's a fatwa...
I'm a Catholic. I listen to the Pope, but I don't think he's really infallible.
But you know, yeah. but I'm a Muslim, Your Honor. So I have to follow what our religion teaches us to.
I mean, a lot of Catholic traditions were copied from paganism. A lot of churches were copied after mosques, and a lot of mosques were copied after European churches before. And that's a fact. Okay. And all I'm saying is, you're welcome. If you don't like it, don't. Sabi nyo, huwag kayo mag-opt out. Ano, okay, sabi nyo, mag-opt out kayo lahat pala. Mag-opt out kayo lahat. Mag-opt out kayo lahat. Pero pag nakakuha na yung isang Muslim, o isang Katoliko, o isang Protestante, o isang atheist, ng organ, na buhay siya o yung kamag-anak niya,
Yes, sir.
Magbabago.
Yes, yeah,
Hey, you've got to agree with that, right?
yes, yeah. There's no question about that. But the most important thing is we have to have a ruling on this, ruling by our religious leaders.
That's
and
violation
scholars.
of religious rights eh. Kung sasabihin ng religion nyo, ayaw nyo at makikinig ka, huwag ko kayo pipigilin. Eh, na sinasabi ninyo, you have the right to, katulad sinasabi nyo, you have the right to privacy. But lahat yan, may limitations eh. You know, lahat yan may limitations. I do not want to go to war, but I want to be a medic. Remember that movie? Kalagay, Red Cross dyan? He was tried, and then what did he do? I don't want to fight, but I want to save lives. And he did save lives.
Last week, sir, we did some consultations with Muslim religious leaders, and we found out there's still difference of opinion
Of
on
course.
the issue. But that's why we have to have really a fatwa on this one. Because
Well, that's up to you and your
exactly,
people.
because we also governed, not, although we respect the national law, sir, but we also are governed by our Sharia laws.
Of course, that's why I'm saying I'm not going to intervene with that.
Yeah, but
Freedom is choices. Poverty is an absence of choice. That's original for me. I keep that all the time. Mahirap ka kung wala kang choice. Pero kung meron kang choice, kinuha mo, yes. Sir, I'm not disagreeing with you. It's fine with me. I have all the respect for, I've got Muslims in my staff, and, you know, ang ayoko lang, ang sinasabi ko lang dito, nung araw wala nanonood ng game ng UP.
kaya nga napaka, sir,
Nung
ang
nagkaroon
boses
ng
ko.
pagkakataon na lumakas yung UP, aba, lahat na. Ngayon, nagkakagulo pa sa internet. Meron pa akong kaibigan, masyado nasarapan. Sabi niya, bubugin natin yung mga tigatan na yun. Naku, regent pa naman. Sabi ko, nagbibiro lang yan eh. Kilala ko yan eh. Tinotoo. Tinotoo na lahat. Siyempre, pagka nasa public ka, huwag ka magsalita ng ganyan. Tatutuhanin ka. Nakakawa siya ngayon. But, nung araw, wala nanonood dyan. Ngayon, lahat nanonood. Gusto ng ticket. Tinatawagan ako, gusto ng ticket. Ba't itong araw wala kayo? In 86, I was one of the guys who were contributing to the team with Boy Reno. Ngayon, lahat gusto. Brads ko, kaklase ko, road tayo. Why? It's bandwagon mentality. So, sir, pagka nakita ng isa dyan, sasama na yan. Lahat na natakot. Oh, the world is flat. Oh, yan. Oh, nakapunta doon. Everybody now wants to go to the new world. Yes, Vanessa, Redgrave.
In relation to this,
Yes,
I'd like to
Olivia.
ask Dr. Abdullah, will it be easy to get a fatwa on organ donation?
That's why, in relation to our consultative meetings with religious leaders last week in Davao, there has to be more. Because I just noticed during the consult, even a religious leader considered it as not permissible. One religious considered. That's why we have to really, not only the jurists, our jurists, Muslim Jews, but especially our religious leaders, because we follow. Remember, in this country, Muslims follow what our religious leaders say.
Sir?
Because our religious leaders say what the leaders make decisions are based on the Quran.
So
Dr.
it's the
Abdullah,
religious leaders
there
who
is
have
no
to be...
debate.
Yes, sir.
We will follow, you will follow what your religious leaders say. And I respect that. I will not debate with you.
Thank you, sir.
But I can also say there's separation of church and state. And I don't want to say that because that's legalistic. All I'm saying is, eventually, when a Catholic son who says, no, I don't want it, sees his son saved by somebody who doesn't know and gives it, he will be one of those who will say, oh, dapat magbigay na, or I was saved. You know, how many people, one of the good grades, how many people come to us and say, your mother saved the life of my father. Your mother saved a lot of people. He got blood from it. Lumabas po siya, naganap siya ng dugo. That's a fact. And up to now, we're not looking for gratuity or anything like that. But that's a fact. So, sa akin, marami naniniwala sa blood. Dahil dati sabi sa akin, ay, palagi kukulangin tayo sa blood. Abi, hindi ka ako, meron tayong 143, mangukuha ng blood dyan araw-araw. And every day, you have to report in the morning kung ano na-collecta nyo, anong binigay nyo at 9 o'clock, and in the evening, you have to report anong inventory nyo, ilan nakuha nyo, ilan binigay nyo, and you have to report. Now we don't run out of blood. Boss, doctor, we don't run out of blood. Because, nung una, ayaw nila, mahirap yan. Ako, yung mga chapter administrators, mahirap yan, boss. Hindi. Lalabas natin ang pakay ng bayan, ng gobyerno, palabasin ang galing ng Pilipino. Palabasin ang buti ng Pilipino. Hindi naman pipilitin yan eh. Bahala ka. Kung gusto mong magbigay, okay. Kung ayaw mo, opt-out ka. Hindi naman pinipilit eh. Yes. Somebody was yes, Mangita?
Just to
I'm sorry,
reply.
Mangita.
Oh, yes.
I hope you don't mind. Kanina pa nagre-raise si Gemma. Gemma ba? Gemma? Okay.
Sir, maraming salamat for the opportunity. We're sorry we were not here earlier during the first hearings.
What do you belong? What group do you belong?
Commission on Human Rights. po.
Excuse me?
CHR.
Kindly.
Commission.
I love soft voices, but I need to hear you.
Commission on Human Rights.
Because I'm oversexed. People who are hard of hearing are oversexed. What did you say again?
Commission on Human Rights, sir.
Huh?
CHR.
Human rights.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's why I said this should be referred also to the Committee on Justice, which I share also. They're
Yes,
on
sir.
human rights.
Committee
Go
on
ahead.
Justice and Human Rights, sir. Thank you. It seems like most of the discussions and debates regarding human rights are threshed out already, and we appreciate that because we are raising also the same concerns. In fact, but we'll go direct to the point. We understand that there's a need. In fact, the position initially taken by the Commission is that with due deference to the need for the health of all individuals, we agree with the proposed bill, except that there has to be a balance of rights because the rights of donors are also being looked at, not just the recipients. So it's important that we balance everything. So I'm hearing a lot of safety measures to balance the rights of all individuals. So I'm okay with that. I just want to propose also, probably there's need to balance the rights. There's need to have indicators to show that there are really massive education information campaign already because we really have to take into consideration that this is really presumed consent on the part of the state. So we have to make sure that the state is taking over its authority over the civil individuals. So we really have to ensure that individuals are, of course, not overpowered. I mean, they have to exercise their rights. So in optimal...
Excuse me, sometimes I interrupt. No?
Yes,
I
sir.
do that a lot of times. I don't want to lose the chance of that. Do you think this will succeed pag pinilit mo ang tao? Pupurahin ka ng tao dyan. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's why we're very
Maraming tao nagkakaroon ng opinion and I think they're entitled to that. The thing is, we have legislators, we have laws to look into that, but we also have technical working groups such as this to balance everything. So I think this is the right time to raise all this. And then, so basically, we just want to ensure that measures are being put in place because before we have a good law, we have the opt-in, but it didn't went well. So what are the guarantees that with this new and different and in fact controversial bill, we will have a better result? There's a possibility of infringing some of the rights, but we have to take into consideration the result of some of that because some of the rights are not really absolute naman. The thing is, we have to ensure that there are measures being put in place. So I would propose that the bill in itself, as you said, sir, should be complete in itself. Siguro po sa...
You have any suggestions?
I've been hearing a lot so far, but I haven't seen them in the bill. So if that's put in the bill, I'm okay with that. There are also some concerns here with respect to mentally ill persons. We already have a mental health law. They already have advanced directives. With that measure, I think we can ensure that the mentally ill person can actually provide consent if necessary.
No, we're not gonna get from mentally ill persons.
It's part of the, yes.
Di ba nakalagay dyan?
Opo, opo. Ang
For
akin lang po,
minors,
for mental health
Patients.
patients, under the mental health law, sir, there's already an advance directive. So during lucid intervals, they can actually write an advance directive. It's part of the law. Write an advance directive already specifying what are the treatment or what are the measures that should be taken with respect to his health. If it comes to a point na he dies, he can also include that, given that he can also say that he is also considering donating his organs. So, pwede naman po yun. So, it's not really an absolute exclusion dapat dito. Kasi meron nga po sa mental health law na...
Lucid interval.
Yes,
But, yeah,
during
that
lucid
would be
interval.
questioned. To me, Gemma, what do you guys think? You folks, no? Sorry. I'm very informal sometimes. The reason why I think there is a lot of passion here is because ang dami-dami natin tao, nag-opt-in tayo, dapat kahit paano, a significant percentage should have already agreed. Di ba? 105 million Filipinos. Naiwan na 30 million ang pwede mag-opt-in. Wala eh. So, with this now, hindi mo nang pipilitin yan. Ang laki ng base mo. Ang laki ng base mo ngayon. So, at some point in time, pagka meron kang opt-out, marami ka ngayon makukunan, makakatulong sa mga tao na nangangailangan na buhay pa. And that is the whole point of this bill. To give a chance for others, to those who can no longer have a chance in life. And the important thing is yung ethics committee. So I was hoping Dr. Abdel, because you were talking about ethics, no? Within the Muslim community, I've always asked that from the very beginning, dapat may ethics committees about hospital niyan. May dalawang pasyente niya, ikanyo, dalawang doktor lagi na nagbabantay niyan. Sa akin, ang talagang unethical dito eh. Aba, dami natin ngayon, pwede natin ibenta yung organ ng Pilipino doon sa mayaman sa Amerika o yung mayaman na... Hindi pwede yun. You have to safeguard against that. Yes, Dr. Alvin Caballas, MTech.
Good morning, Senator Gordon.
Good morning po.
I'm here as part of the DOH's NTEC. Just to follow up on what was said regarding...
May Gemma.
Yes po.
Yes.
Hindi po, in-exempt po natin ang people who do not have full mental capacity because we think that they cannot give full informed consent. And hindi lang po sila ang ganito. We should probably consider other people and populations who are not in a position to actually even know about the law. Given a full educational campaign, we will have areas in the country which probably will not still be so informed. So kailangan po merong ganong safeguards. In the TWG, we've been trying to work it out and apparently it will be somehow incorporated in the IRR. But I think there has to be such, I don't know, an escape clause that in fact it does not apply to all because we cannot assume that everybody had been informed enough to be able to opt out if they wanted to. Secondly, I would also like to say that this is, an opt-out legislation, but it actually will work well, not because of its opt-out provisions. It is because of the other provisions. In fact, if all the other provisions were working well, I think we can do it an opt-in, because if everybody knows that they become heroes if they somehow donate later on, it's also going to work. And in any case, the opt-out jumpstarts this and enhances the donation effort. My last point po is, in effect, this will become a universal donation. Everybody is a potential donor. nandun din ho ba yung kabaligtaran? Is anybody a potential recipient? Tinatanong ko si Dr. Sarmiento a while ago, ano po ba ang experience now that we have a centralized allocation system? And he says that 60%? 60% of the time, potential recipients pass, they do not accept the organs because they cannot afford the transplant. So, we will potentially create a surplus of organs, and yet, hindi po kaya, as it stands now. Of course, there are measures in place. PhilHealth has
Universal health care.
Has universal health care, has the benefits, and so on. But I think I just hope that we also look at the other side of it. We would like to get more organs, but I hope we also look at the equity side of it, that these organs go where it is most needed. There are medical criteria for that, but again, as Dr. Sarmiento has confirmed.
Alvin?
Yes, sir.
Don't you think we're giving more chances now to the poor? Because there are more organs, they have chances now to get it?
Dr. Sarmiento can be able to answer that better.
Or Dr. Dangilan? Ramina?
Good morning, Senator. There's a PhilHealth Z benefit that's already available now for the last siguro 4 or 5 years. And deceased organ donation is part of that. So the patients get a 600,000 peso benefit. And if they're poor, then they don't pay a single cent. It's all already covered by PhilHealth. So I think the concern of Dr. Alvin Cabalias is there, but it's something that we want to embrace. I mean, we don't even have that problem now. The agencies, government agencies at present have ways already to address that. There's the problem of the immunosuppression, perhaps, and PCSO and other government agencies, again, are there that are helping to assist the patients to be able to afford the immunosuppression. So I think let's not make that stop us from really pursuing this very important bill. Thank you po.
Thank you, Dr. Alvin. I just want to use your words. I think you came out with something that I like. Potential donors and potential recipients. Let's not presume consent. We are creating a huge trove of potential donors who have not opted out. So it's not presume consent. In any case, and there will be a lot of potential recipients, not based on money, it's based on need. In other words, it's needs-driven ang magiging position natin dyan. Sino may kailangan, katulad nga sinabi natin, eh kung hindi naman siya kamatch nung ko, kahit na mahirap siya o mayaman siya, hindi naman siya kamatch, eh siyempre madali na natin makakuha. Pero there is still another chance because now you have a potential donor list of marami that you can get eventually. Dr. Ramina, when you have this, do you think there will be more chances for those who need? I mean, this is may sound like a stupid question, but obviously, when you have more donors, a lot of donors, mas maraming chances ngayon ng tao.
Opo, definitely. And we have a scoring system at present. And based on the scoring system, those who are highest scored, they are the ones who receive priority for the organs.
No, but I'm talking about the general population. Yes, ma'am. You want to answer that question?
I think I can.
Dr. Sarmiento?
Dr. Sarmiento.
Sorry.
Right now, the age of our patients on dialysis are in the late 40s to 60s because most of them are diabetic or hypertensive. Now, if you are diabetic now, 14 years from now, you will have an end-stage kidney disease. So 14 years from now, maybe this opt-out will really flourish and you will have a donor for you.
Of course, we're not forgetting here, and I remind you again, I always take you back, the educational aspect, which is really the job of DOH and the job of every parent, to live right, to live healthy. I think we're not forgetting that. That should be part and parcel of this, so that you don't have to get a transplant or you don't have to go to to dialysis. I think that's very important, and that should be emphasized in the. If you want, we can put the fundamental principles here na talagang dapat nandun yan, no? Na we can craft that into the law. But the important thing here is, the principle is, we're creating a big repository of potential donors. Na the poor needn't worry because, katulad na sinabi ko kayo na, we're asked, you have to raise taxes eventually because you're going to have universal health insurance. You'll have PhilHealth. PhilHealth's budget will come from 50% of PCSO and PhilHealth. Yan pupunta sa universal health yan eh. So makita mo, kakailanganin yan. So magkakaroon talaga ng chances ang marami. So it's just that we really have to accept our responsibilities in life. We just have to. Is cremation a form of deformity? The rich cremate. Di ba? Or the poor even cremate. Mas mura pa. Pero you don't hear a squawk. Nung araw, pag cremate mo, oh, you'll go to hell. Ayaw na simbahan. Now, the culture of the church has changed. So to my mind, all the comments made by everyone here are quite valid and must be considered. And what is important is we put this in the law. And it will be a fine-tuning time also in the law, that from time to time we make a review of the law. Is it working? Is the education enough? And that should be an annual review by a committee such as this with the legislator to find out whether it's working. We must make it work. We must shepherd it to make it work. Yes. Excuse me. There's somebody here raising his. Okay. Mangita.
Just addition, like an advance. She talked about advance directives. I don't know if it's going to be part of the law or the IRR, but can we also include?
I get scared, Mangita, when you say IRR. The law has got to be complete because the IRR has a way.
Yes.
And I've made many laws, and believe you me, binabago ng IRR.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want to put it in the law.
Ng tao natin eh.
Yes.
Magdemanda kayo, sasabihin pa nila yan.
Oo.
Kaya kailangan makakompleto natin dito.
Oh, sige. So, this is about advance directives because as far as corneas, bone, and other tissues are concerned, we don't need them to be connected to machines, okay? We have cardiac death, even about several hours after we can still retrieve the tissue. So we do most of the retrieval in funeral homes. So advanced, and then I'm working now with some oncologists whose patients know they're dying, and they're giving advance directives for their corneas. So perhaps we can make a statement there that all these crematoriums, because hanggang sa huli ho, pwede pa, before they are embalmed. And perhaps we can yes, basta hindi na embalmed.
Dead.
That's what I'm saying. Kami ho, we get, yes, up to 12. So that should be
placed in the law.
Yes.
Very important. Very
important ho, because it might be neglected. In fact, this is where we need to engage. That's why I said the first responders, even patay na ho, wala ng heartbeat, cardiac death, we can still get the corneas and the eyeballs. And funeral homes is where we do a lot of our retrieval. And crematoriums before they are cremated. So this is a whole.
If there is this provision and they cannot opt out,
yes.
Pwede bang kunin kahit
That's why we need to inform and get their buy-in, and they have to be mandated to also inform that if they have potential donors, they must cooperate. Kasi now, in the opt-in, we have to beg them to cooperate. We have to have a MOA with them. Whereas advance directives, and maybe in the plans, the funeral plans, they can include it in their funeral plans. Yeah, the tissues, not just eyes, bones, and skin. Yeah, because we wanted sana St. Peter to put there what I want. My coffin is like this, I want that. Di ba, sir, pwede rin isama yun sa mga directives, pati sa plano, na death plan. If you talk about your casket, if you talk about your plan, you can also say, I would like to donate my corneas.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
And
it becomes a business of death, wala ng emotion.
And there will be nothing wrong pa because patay na eh.
Exactly. There's no issue, and they want it as part of their legacy or their.
Even in mythology, di ba, before you get to cross the river Styx, magbabayad ka doon sa boatman, kaya naging tradition. Ha? Hector ba yan? No. There is a boatman doon sa river Styx. Pag pumunta ka doon, ang pamasahe mo, bibigay ka ng coin. Kaya naging tradition. Pag may namatay, nilalagay yung coin sa mata. So, I was just reminded about that a while ago. But anyway, I'm glad that you pointed out very, very major contribution in the law. Very major. Alright? Caron. Ang pangalan ng boatman, si Caron. K-H-A-R-O-N. The boatman, yeah. Hindi alam ni Susie yan eh. Tinuruan ko na Susie ngayon. At hindi nagbabasa ng mythology ito. Aling ito. Yes, Dr. Ola. Thank you, Wigita.
Minsan maganda ang kwento eh, Your Honor.
Yes.
Meron akong ikukwento sa inyo about opting out and opting in. This is a very prominent person whose daughter, about 52 years old, had a massive brain hemorrhage and was admitted in one of our top hospitals and was diagnosed brain dead. She was in the ICU, and eventually, when everybody among the doctors, neurologists, neurosurgeons said, wala na tayong pag-asa, talagang brain dead, she was brought to her room and took another 2 days or more before she finally expired. Ito po is a close friend of mine. And so sinabi ko doon sa neurologist ng ospital, brain dead na yan ha. She's a potential donor. Make sure, explain na everything, including the husband of this patient was even a neurologist. And already agreed and told the family na wala na pag-asa. But galing Amerika itong husband niya. The point is, so I was very sure that sasabihin na ng neurologist sa family. Kasi nag-usap na kami. After a while, eventually, the patient, inalis na ho yung respirator and she expired. So tinanong ko eventually, bakit, anong nangyari? Nakuha ba ang organs? Yung pala, hindi kinausap ng neurologist yung family. And the patient expired. Nothing happened. So after a couple of days, sinabi ko sa wife ko, lintok yung neurologist, di ba lang sinabi? Oo nga eh, sana man lang sinabi niya sa akin. And I talked to that neurologist. So after about 3 or 4 weeks, about maybe a month later, we told one of the brothers, or one of the sisters na, sayang, hindi sinabi pala. And sabi nung sister niya, sus, kung sinabi man lang, we would have agreed. And this is from a very well-informed family. And yet, you know, at the height of their sorrow and the fact that their sister became brain dead, hindi din nila naisip yun, sabi nila. If we had a law on siguradong nakuha ko ang organs noon, that to me is one of the reasons why I think opting out at merong one is really a solution, because ito, they would have easily agreed, and yet because of the situation, the fact that their loved ones was gone or brain dead already, hindi nila naisip yun. And because again of the system natin, unfortunately, tinanong ko yung neurologist, eventually sabi niya, hindi ko masabi. Sabi ko, sana malang sinabi mo sa akin na hindi mo kaya.
Okay,
And
sir.
of course,
That's an excellent story that we should remember. Any more questions? Any more issues? Yes. Could I have Ms. San Diego, Dr. Rica San Diego?
Hi, good morning, Your Honor.
Good
I'm
morning.
Dr. Rica San Diego. I work as a hospital transplant coordinator at the Medical City. With regards, in relation to what Dr. On has said, I would just like to stress that this is where the organ procurement organizations come in, wherein there is always an organ donation program in hospitals. It is important that when there is an organ donation program that exists in each hospital, there will be a mechanism in which all potential donors who have been certified as brain dead will be referred to the proper authorities. Like, for example, if we know that all hospitals will be mandated to register all their brain death cases, then we will know where the gap happened. I am actually proposing that we come up with a brain death registry wherein all patients who are diagnosed to be brain dead or in imminent brain death be registered, and then we will know what happened. Did the potential donor expire prior to consent? Was the patient, were the relatives or next of kin not informed about it? At least we will be able to trace where we can fill in the gaps and be able to get consent or request consent from the next of kin at the earliest possible time. We would like to get a record, because so far to date there is no such thing as a brain death registry, and it would be a good idea if we can already implement this kind of registry in all hospitals, not only in transplant centers, but in all potential referring hospitals. And I propose that all hospitals be designated as potential referring hospitals, because all hospitals will definitely have potential multiple organ donors.
I didn't get the last one. All hospitals become potential.
All hospitals can have potential multiple organ donors, so all of them should be mandated.
But that's different, ma'am, from capability.
No, Your Honor, when we say potential organ donors, all hospitals should have the capability to identify and detect, but we're not telling this hospital to be the ones to to process these potential donors. It is the role of the organ procurement organization to do the processing. That's why there has to be a system wherein there will be communication by the...
That's a very good point. That's a safeguard to have a brain dead registry. I
Yes.
agree with that. We'll put that in the law. Now, let me ask a question now. I hope I didn't lose it. We were talking about registry, no? Now, two questions. One, Dr. Ona, would you, if there was an opt-out provision already, no? And the neurologist doesn't do anything about it, would you make him liable? Yung mga doktor.
So perhaps the hospital should be made liable, because it's the responsibility of the hospital to make sure that these laws are implemented and carried out.
So, anybody from the Philippine Hospital Association, last time we had one, eh? Yes, Doctor. Ona?
Siguro ho kung liability, just sort of sanction lang naman. Because I think, in general, unless this is very well known already by everybody, it takes time for hospitals to adjust to this kind of...
Because what came to my mind was
Yes.
that the neurologist was so afraid to talk to the patient's family.
Hindi ho afraid ang
Or
nangyari
nag-aalangan
doon,
siya,
kundi,
or...
minsan
I'm
po kasi
just,
yung mga doktor, parang kung sila ang magsasabi daw to the family, parang hindi daw nila kaya. There is that so-called maybe doctor-patient relationship na nagiging sometimes very personal. Kasi meron ho kasing minsang thinking ang doktor na death is a defeat in essence. You tried your best to save the patient, and then, so mas mabuti pa iba na ang magsabi.
Death is a defeat.
Death is a defeat.
I don't think I buy that.
Is a defeat, or parang You tried your best to save the patient, but he
Yeah.
passed away.
But so long as you tried your best, I think you should not take the blame for it. I will now go. Now I got everybody's dander up. All right. I'll go from right to left. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Lorette, hindi naman kayo masyado
Yes,
nagsasalita.
I was very active with Carino Memorial Medical Center. It's a trauma center. So I assign residents or a pinpoint who is responsible to looking into our brain dead cases. So we had a sort of not really a registry, but we count how many patients are neurology and trauma patients who become brain dead, and then who are referred to the transplant coordinator.
Ma'am,
And so from there,
I don't want to lose this.
yes,
Brain dead. Registered ka agad. Dapat ang hospital, alam niya na kagad. I-register na yan. Tama ba yan, Rika?
yes.
Can I call you Rika? Yeah.
Okay. So by the end of the year, I would know how many have been referred to me as a transplant surgeon of QMMC. So I believe if we start small, we started small with Quirino Memorial Medical Center, and we apply this to other trauma hospitals, most especially, then we can get a lot of referrals from these centers.
I didn't get the point.
That the hospital should have an active, should be active in referring.
Must be active.
Yes, must be active in referring potential donors.
Correct.
Yes.
Especially if they don't have a team there, right?
They need not have a team to procure or to
Because
recover
the hospital,
the organs.
the ambulances have to be brought to the fore when they bring that patient to a team to a
Yes.
hospital that can handle it, right?
They refer to the organ procurement organization.
So, anong organization?
As of now,
kung mas na ho yan eh. Don't think about as of now.
as of
When
now,
we make this bill,
at
dapat kasama na
NCR,
yan.
it is the human organ procurement effort,
Now,
preservation
I
effort.
need you to help me here. Once this bill becomes law, wala na yung ought to be referred. It automatically happens, and then the certified ambulances will go there and bring it to the hospital that can handle it. Is that correct, ma'am?
We have a process because we don't know yet if these
Everything
donors
is a
are
process,
eligible donors or
Ma'am?
suitable.
This donor is?
We don't know yet if these donors are suitable. There's a team who will assess first the donor. There's a
Right
process.
now.
Yes.
Hindi ba dapat lahat ng hospital meron ganyan? Hindi ba
Not-
kaya?
Not really. No.
Naku, ito na naman tayo, hindi na naman natin kaya. Kawawa naman ng Pilipinas.
Your Honor, if
Wala tayong
the
kaya.
hospital has a transplant program, then they can assess if the donor is suitable.
But we have to develop that capability. Don't you think so?
No, not
Ma'am,
yet. Not all
no, not
hospitals have this capability.
I know they don't, but it doesn't mean that we don't develop the capability.
Yes,
the
we will
moment this
develop.
comes into law, everybody, part of the law must say, all hospitals must start referring to a training center where all these things, brain registry, matching, all these things will be given that hospital. They must. Otherwise, they will not be part of PhilHealth or they will not be part of all this.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
assumption.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, PD.
And then,
PD o dipindi na naman?
ano pa?
PD.
Pwede.
Kasi,
Yes, we want to
Wala rin
develop
natin yan eh.
all these hospitals, but the ones who will recover
Ma'am, I'm talking
the
about the law.
organs
Listen
will
to
be
me, please.
certified surgeons
Listen to me,
only.
please. I listen to you. Listen to me. Ang sinasabi ko, batas na ito, halimbawa, kailangan niyong gawin na yan. Don't leave it to IRR. Otherwise, we have to put that in the bill. I can see Dr. Sarmiento nodding. You have a comment, Dr. Sarmiento? The only thorn among the roses there on that side?
I'm also a rose.
Okay, sige lang. A rose by any name.
Proudly a rose. So,
I agree. And I respect.
Thank you,
And I salute.
actually, I concur most of those presented in the discussions, especially in empowering and also capacitating the hospitals in referring potential donors. However, I mean, the DOH has certain classification is hospital who has the capability of referring. And the procurement organizations that are being referred to are actually the hospital-based overall coordinators for from the time that a particular patient is identified or detected to be a potential donor until it will be processed towards transplantation.
Pope Francis, alias Dr. Francisco, am I being too optimistic? Am I being too driven? I think once you make this law, yung kasama nito, ikakasa natin, hindi pwede maghihintay pa tayo ng 3 taon o 5 taon. In other words, the moment this happens, the Bureau of Hospitals, Dr. Ona, sino ba nagsasabi ng requirement na yan?
Para ho, may Bureau of Hospitals, ngayon wala na eh.
Ano ngayon? Bureau of...
well, they just assign a USEC to take care of...
Well, ilalagay natin sa bill yan. Kailangan, the moment this bill is passed, all the hospitals have to have that capability because what's the point? I mean, you have to put them in in an organ bank, so to speak, na may availability ito. Wala namang bangko yan eh. Hindi tatagal. Unless cornea. Cornea.
For tissues, it's
Kasi
possible.
kung wala yan, cornea itong law na ito. Di ba? So, kailangan itong sasabihin natin, automatic, sasabihin niya na sa akin kagad yan, kung nilalag ko sabihin, the moment somebody declared brain death, parang may mechanism na tatawagan na lahat yung mga hospital, tatawagan na yung bank of patients waiting for a transplant, who will now decide on the match? Dr. Ona?
Tama po, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, ito hong ating pinag-uusapan ngayon are actually nasimula na ho natin o nagawa na. And what we are really asking is how to strengthen ho ito through the batas na ating hinihingi ngayon.
Because pag nagawa itong batas, hindi pwedeng, wala pa tayo niyan eh. Ma'am, sadali, I'll get to you. Ayoko magagawa ng batas, sabi, hindi pa tayo ready, wala pa tayo niyan. Ano, hindi pa ready? The moment this bill is passed and becomes a law, within 6 months, may training na yan. Tapos na. Pwede o dipindi, Dr. Sarmiento?
Absolutely correct, sir.
Tama?
It's possible.
You've got good judgment. That's why I like you. Even if you're a rose, or when you're a rose, or whatever it is, it doesn't matter to me. Right? I mean, we have to have some humor here. Anyway, so you agree, dapat meron ganun. Di ba? Huwag tayo maghintay kasi the usual style is, ako na muna, it's not my responsibility. There has got to be imposition right away of the standards. Can you help us here, those of you who think you can help us with the standard setting so we can make it happen? I expect to start sponsoring this December, pwede na ako mag-sponsor December, January na. January na. And you only have a corridor of 3 weeks when we pass this. And I have to pass this on to the lower house. We have to call the lower house. Kasi pag hindi ito na-pass ngayon at nagpa-eleksyon ng bago, mawawala ito, uulitin na naman ito. I hope you get that, no? I hope I'll have to call people now in the lower house to start your appearances there because they have to have hearings there. And so we can combine our forces so that by the first week of sessions in January, tapos kaagad, and then bicameral conference committee, kailangan ma-approve by the both houses para maapirmahan ng presidente before Congress adjourns. If we can get this done, I'll try to have this certified by the president para magawa yan.
Your
Because
Honor.
hingi kayo na hingi ng taxes, Mr. President, tapos bayad tayo ng bayad, halos 10 billion ang ginagastos ng PhilHealth sa mga tao yan. Dapat naman, it should begin to taper down when you have the solution of transplantation, di ba? Yes, now I can, you want a second chance?
Sure.
Is that continuing
Yes,
your point?
on-
Yes, go ahead.
Right now, we have mainly 6 organ procurements in the whole archipelago, the whole Philippines. Is it possible that with this law, we can also implement non-government organizations as organ procurement organizations?
Such as?
We have foundations who can also be organ procurement organizations.
I don't understand what you mean by
the-
organ. I mean, I would imagine that you get this in hospitals, right? I mean, NGOs will not operate on a patient.
No, that's not.
I'm sorry, my medical IQ is very low.
And,
Yes, go ahead, Magita.
Yes, an OPO is an organ procurement organization.
Yes, opo.
Yes.
Opo.
And right now, we have six main
6 or
regions.
5. Oh.
5 in the provinces and 1 at the NCR.
Bicol Medical Center,
Yes.
di ba?
These are
Yeah.
region 1 to 4A, down to Davao. These are all government entities. So is it possible that with the non-government organizations,
Even
This-
non-government hospitals.
yes, or even private hospitals,
Yeah, private
can have
hospitals.
our own procurement
Any
system?
hospital.
Yes.
No, it's important. Let's not be in a hurry here. Lahat ng hospital, sa may capability, sabi ni Dr. Oran, hindi naman mahirap yung maturo yung recovery at saka transplant, di ba? Especially for those that sanay na tayo. Dapat ma-develop kagad yung capability right away. Tama ba yan, Dr. Sarmiento?
Yes, as Dr. Aliquete was saying, it would be in the best interest of the population of the patients or the medical community if the organ procurement organizations are best hospital-based rather than standalones. Because we have been receiving reports of foundations.
I'm willing to accept a suggestion from you that on the first 6 months, all government hospitals must have this capability. All Class A hospitals, such as private hospitals like Makati, Medical City, sinabi ko sa Medical City, andyan, must have that capability. Pwede o dipindi?
It
Say
depends.
pwede.
The DOH can scope and map hospitals that can be capable, and usually these are level 3 hospitals.
Yeah, but you have to have a timeline.
Yes, sir.
I don't want them to have their own time, take their own time.
Actually, sir, we are
Yeah, this is because
having a meeting next week on this for the scoping and mapping of these hospitals.
What I'm imagining, Dr. Sarmiento and all of you kind hearts and gentle people, is a map that will show these are the hospitals in the country that can be, that will be part of our annexes. Is that okay? You agree? And we can have this before we file the bill, right? Because I'm going to present this here on the floor. Dr. Sarmiento, look at me. I'm a good-looking chap too. Okay, sige, not just good-looking ladies. Okay. Ano? Pwede yan?
That's possible, sir.
So araw-araw kayo maglari ito, may 6 kayo. Ito, capable ito mga ito. Medical City, Makati Medical, St. Luke's, lahat yan.
Actually, sir, as far as the DOH is concerned, there's a directive from the Department Secretary that OPO, especially in the NCR, must be expanded further, but these should be all government-based hospitals.
Bakit naman government hospitals lang? Dapat lahat. Ay, nako, kaya ako naiinis sa DOH eh. Nahuhuli kayo palagi eh. Sabi nga nung dating the late Dr. Flavier, let's do it. Have you forgotten that?
One of the primary reasons of the Department of Health concerns regulation over private hospitals as compared to government
Top
hospitals.
10 itong diabetes. Top 10 yung problema yan. Ang liver ba nasa top 10?
Yes.
Yes, oh. Ang eye ba nasa top 10?
Cause of blindness, yes.
Ha?
Top 5 cause of
Top
blindness.
5 cause of blindness,
Okay.
cornea.
Lahat yan. Bakit hindi bilisan ng DOH yan? I don't mind telling you that this is not DOH initiated. It is, I don't want to say Red Cross, baka magdagalit pa kayo sa akin. It's Dick Gordon initiative. nagbibiro lang naman ako dito, hindi ako nagyahiwa. Pero naiinis na ako, bakit naman ganyan? So, kailangan, when we pass this bill, you give me a timeline. Dr. St. Francis, Pope Francis, Sarmiento. Di ba St. Francis was kind to the animals?
I do have pet animals. That follows.
Okay. Now, okay. Right now, Dr. Rica, San Diego.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor, I would just like to open the topic here about the end-of-life care issues, okay? Last week, I was not able to join the hearing because I was busy being a faculty in the training of Chance and Procurement Management. And we were trying...
Pardon, Medical City, yan ang partner ng...
Yes, we're partners with the Ateneo School of Medicine.
You teach there.
So anyway, last week we were there in Davao training doctors and nurses to become transplant coordinators for our country. Okay, one of the issues that was raised there was that there is always this issue about how to break the bad news regarding brain death. First of all, I would like that the School of Medicine would include in their curriculum how doctors will break the bad news about brain death. Okay, it is our duty. Sir, the way to approach, it's not taught yet. The thing is, all doctors are duty bound to take care of the patient. So when we say patient, they are living, okay? But there will come a point when you will have a patient wherein there will be poor prognosis, and then during the tour of your duty, you will have to do regular assessment. And at that point, when you have assessed that this patient is in imminent brain death, and it comes to that point that the patient is already brain dead, you will have findings that indeed the patient is already brain dead. And it is your duty to inform the relatives or the next of kin that there is nothing to be done, and continuing the management is futile, and loss of it would be costly for the patient, and futile to continue spending for the continued management. Also, on the part of the hospital, you are also wasting the bed space for another patient who needs attention. So it is the duty of each doctor that they be able to break the bad news that, look, your patient is already dead.
We're buying.
Yes, and they have to make a decision whether or not
That will have to be
they
placed
have.
in the law.
That is the point. We can introduce the concept of organ donation. We can always offer to them the opportunity to give the gift of life. It is brain death diagnosis will not just be for organ donation, but also for the benefit of the next of kin who they already have exhausted their resources, making them hope that it can still be reversed is not good. You have to come up front and tell them that the patient has died and we have to move on. Maybe you can decide, would you like to donate, or would you just like that we already arrange the...
But at this point, pagka napasa na itong batas, yung would you like to donate, sasabihin niya, hindi kayo nag-opt out, we will do this procedure.
No, what I mean is, they have to decide that they give the consent already, or...
No, ma'am. I want to listen to Vanessa because she's the exponent of this. Pagka brain dead na at hindi siya nag-opt out in life, the duty of the doctor is to say, ma'am, the patient is brain dead, he has not opted out, and we're duty bound to save others with his organ. Is that okay? Vanessa?
Yes, Your Honor, I think that's okay. As pointed out earlier, you may say that we want to fulfill the wishes of this person who did not opt out, and therefore we may use the organs to help another person.
Ivy, are you listening? Behave.
Your Honor, I still hope that we can, I thought that we have agreed that, a soft opt-out system can be incorporated in this bill so that we will be more respectful of human rights and human dignity.
Yeah.
So can we make a reservation to submit actual proposed provisions in this, including non-controversial data protection issues, since this will involve registries.
You know, when I draft the
Yes,
bill, I go down to the reality of the ground. All right? Yung mga sinasabi nyo, maganda yan. Principles, ideas, I believe that. That must be done. Opt-out is already allowed. All right? I opted out. So let's say, ando na yan. Sabihin na yan sa kamag-anak. Oh, ma'am, under the law, your relative opted out. We're duty bound now. That's why I asked kanina, is the surgeon, is the neurologist liable? We're duty bound to recover so that your son can provide the gift of life to somebody. Maybe in that language. No? So just to let you know, and that's why I asked you earlier, if that is the choice of the patient, nobody can intervene. It's just like a will. You cannot put it on probate. That's his choice. This is life and death. All right?
But in this scenario, Your Honor, if there continues to be violent objections from the family, then we should not.
No. I'll stick by the law. That is the wishes. That is the law. We're all within your rights. And
but you
because
know,
he opted out,
yeah.
he has willed his body to the state to be able to give it to somebody. That's
You
the
know,
way I look at it.
Yes. If you apply the law strictly, then yes. But you know, in Asia, the only other country that's opt out is Singapore. So recently, we had them as guests in a scientific conference, and one of the senior surgeons, who was one of the pioneers involved in organ donation and transplantation, shared his experience, because I also gave a talk and I flashed your bill, and I said this may be the solution to our very low organ donation rate. And then he said, you have to be very careful, because in Singapore, when we started, we were met with resistance because they were applying it strictly. So nag-backfire. The public would resent.
I don't see it.
So what they
There is
did...
resistance. There will be resistance.
Yes,
but
sir,
like I said,
yeah. So now what they're doing is, of course, widen the
otherwise there'll be no
information.
end to it. It will be an empty law.
No, the solution is still to ask the family, but
That's
you
right.
do that before
Out
you
of
die.
respect, the lady beside you said, you have to teach brain dead neto. The moment that is established, you're expending space, you're expending unnecessary cost for your family, and now your son or whatever your relative says, he would like to have somebody with this organ, and we are duty bound to respect those wishes. That is the way you put it.
Yes, that could be a way. Remember, even Gloria Paez from Spain the other day told us that their law just says opting out, but in actual practice, they all ask the family.
I didn't ask the
parang
family.
ganun din, sir.
I just asked the family. I just told her.
Yes.
I'm the doctor, kunyari. Ma'am, we've done everything. The committee says he's brain dead. We're putting it in the registry. All right? And he has not opted out. He's still in. And therefore, we must respect his wishes. He has offered parts of his body as a gift to somebody he doesn't know. Very heroic. He needs it. Please, we have to do our duty.
Okay.
Diba, Vanessa?
Yes, sir, but hopefully when that time comes, the education campaign would already have been in place.
If we do
Everybody
our
knows,
job
and
right,
the family
that
will
will
not
happen.
object.
Like I said, once it works, and that is why I'm even suggesting, tumulong itong taong ito, we recognize him. This man died. His name is Juan de la Cruz. He is an organ donor. Somebody survived because of him.
Agree. Pwede yun.
Lagay natin yan.
Yes, sir.
I don't follow other countries because they have different ways.
No.
I do know that it works in other countries.
So other countries also honor donors, definitely.
We have to
They
honor
even
the
have
donors.
walls where
We
they
have
put
to
the
honor the
names
relative,
and-
but the principal person who is the one giving is the one who owns the organ.
Mm.
And it's by law, it is transparent, and the doctors must learn to say that, and that, you know, ma'am, can I take you to this private room? We have to tell you this. Well, yun, ganun. I mean, I see it all on TV all the time. I know that's not reality, but dinadala sila sa usually a waiting room, and they're
Yes.
told the facts of life. Yes, sir.
That is practiced
Sandali
as
lang,
well.
the lady muna.
So
Sorry,
I
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I have to ask for your leave. I have
Go
to
ahead, go ahead. You're forgiven. Yeah, but you're okay na dito with the bill, huh? Are you okay or not?
Yes, okay. In
Huh?
general daw, in general.
Can you say it on the microphone, please, before I excuse you?
Yes.
I mean, I'm asking you out of respect because you
Incidentally,
attended
the
here.
mother is in the ICU right now, so he has to ask permission.
I agree with the general terms of the bills. Some of my concerns have been raised in the TWG, and I think those still have to be threshed out.
Dr. Alvin, thank you. Because everybody's staying here. I'm already on overtime. Go ahead, Miguita. We're asking the last two.
Short lang, no? In St. Luke's now, we instituted a report all deaths policy. All staff should report all deaths. Can I just make sure you don't just say report all brain death, but report all deaths? Because cardiac death, you still can use the tissues. And if you just say report all brain death, you will miss out on the others who can still be donors even wala nang, as I said, like
Miguita, can you
organs.
give me a copy of the form?
Yes,
An
I'll give it.
example?
Report all, I will, yes.
Any of you, Dr.
I'll report
Rica?
all deaths form, the
Dr.
memo.
Rica? Yeah,
We have that in the hospital already.
yeah, Dr. Rica, Dr. San Diego, can you give us a copy of the form,
Copy of the form.
if you have any?
Brain death. That's
So
okay.
actually, Your Honor, actually, Dr. Sarmiento and I, we did a project during our stint with UP Manila. We made an a brain death registry, which we submitted to UP Manila. And it was actually designed in such a way that all hospitals can access it.
So Dr. Gap would have it?
No, not yet. So it was an academic project. So
Can you give us a copy of that? Just
so
for-
we can actually ask UP Manila if we can have it adopted by the whole country. Yes, we have a copy of that.
UP Manila will be consulted as I'm consulting you.
Yes.
But the Congress will decide after this consultation.
Yes. So yes, we have a copy of that.
Okay, thank you. I have a copy. All right, Vanessa.
Yeah.
The irrepressible. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, it's 11:20. If you allow me just 2 points, 2 more points.
You're costing yourself time and my time. Go ahead.
No, but if you want to end, we end. Okay. Anyway,
Behave like a lady now.
just to reiterate the fact that you were asking earlier if we have mechanisms in place as we speak. Yes, because we have procured organs in the past. All we need to do is improve on the system,
As if I
extend
didn't
it
know
to.
that.
Okay, so extend it to
asking
the
for
private
example.
sector, for example.
All right.
Because as you heard, it's limited to the government hospital. So
And
to
do you
me, this
agree
is
with
like
me that it should be private, kasama?
of course.
Oh, see?
Sir, this is the more the merrier thing.
No, it's not
You
the
cannot
more,
discriminate the private
the more
sector.
the right thing, not the merrier. It's not merry to do
The
this.
more the right thing. Correct, correct.
Okay, all right.
And
Yes.
then the second thing is,
I have one question I don't want to forget before I finish it. Go ahead.
I would just like to pick up on what Dr. Caballes put up, and which you appreciate, that there will be suddenly, once we implement this, it works, there will be a surge of potential organ donors, and we need to be able to support this. We will work on it, the community involved in this, but also the recipients. So because we have big lists, there will be more recipients. You were told earlier that there is a package for kidney. There is none for liver. So the other day when PhilHealth was here, we requested that there also be, expanded support
What
for.
did they say? They will have no choice.
They will
Universal
study.
healthcare na tayo eh.
Yeah. And then the other that we would like on the bill is that they will support the organ acquisition cost. We will develop that, and because so it will be neutral, it will be for everyone. What happens now, sir, is when an organ donor is processed, there are costs involved, correct? Lab tests, BrainNet certification, maintenance in the ICU, they all involve costs. So for now, those costs are charged to the recipient. If the recipient can pay, what if the recipient is a charity patient? Or what if the donor eventually dies?
Romina, di ba may sa PhilHealth?
So hindi po kasama yan sa Z package. The Z package
Ilalagay
covers
nila
the
yan.
recipient.
Ilalagay nila, Vanessa. We'll make it a point.
Sir, our petition is ihiwalay yun. That it be universal as well. That all organ donors process, PhilHealth will take care.
I will have to negotiate that, okay?
Yes.
I will have to do that in the bill. Yes.
Thank
I
you.
have one. I'm needed already.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I
Yes.
agree with her about the cornea. The PhilHealth does not support processing of
Write
the
it
cornea.
down. Give
Yes,
it to
I will
me.
write it down.
Okay.
Second is the OPOs, Organ Procurement Organizations. At present, the DOH directive was only to give it to government hospitals. There are several private hospitals like Medical City, St. Luke's Medical Center,
Do you
Makati
agree
Med.
with that, what I said?
Yes.
During the first 6 months, ito lahat. Next 6 months, ito. Next
No,
6 months,
no,
ito.
we don't even have to wait for the law. That's what I'm saying, because we have been capable for a long time, but it's a new directive from the DOH not to recognize private
Can you write
hospitals.
me a letter so I can
Yes.
write a letter to Dr.
Yes, Duque.
Royalty? Dr. Duque de Alba? Okay, sige.
Yes, we will do that. Maybe from all of us private hospitals.
Okay, yes.
Your Honor, I just would like to reiterate my position, our position, that there has to be better and real, if there's already a fatwa on this issue. Why? Because we have level 3 hospitals in ARMM. If you're going to implement the provisions of this law, I'm sure in mandatory organ, they would be met with violent resistance from, if they are not aware of a fatwa, or even the information dissemination, they've been educated very well.
Dr.
on this
Abdullah,
matter.
I told you we're going to disseminate this properly. Please respect what I just said.
Yes, sir, I know.
This is going to be stated. I know you want to reiterate that. When you say reiterate, you've already iterated it.
Okay.
You've already iterated it. Now you want to reiterate it. It's just accepted. I'm just sorry. I'm under pressure right now. I have to go to another health issue. Demography. We're on final one there. Dr. Sarmiento, you took note of all this. Maybe you should. All right. Now, my final question is this. Kung hindi nagmamatch ng 100%, pwede pa rin ba yun? Can I have some specific answer? Dr. Rica, yes? Up to how many percentage? 80, 70?
Your Honor, if you're referring to kidneys, yes, it's still possible. It will just be, the management protocol will just be modified. They will be probably they will make use of a stronger immunosuppressive drug.
Stronger immunosuppressive?
Yes, yes. We have better.
What is the batting record, ma'am? Nabubuhay naman, tumatagal.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Dr.
Your
Ora, is
Honor.
that correct?
Tama po.
Okay, good. Yes, Dr. Padilla?
For corneas, no need to match.
No need to match.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. No need to match.
For liver, you only match blood
I
type
agree.
and size.
We just want to make a reservation to submit actual proposals so that, you know, we still respect your passion, but we
Don't
go
respect
into
my
the...
passion. Respect what we are trying to do
Yes,
here.
Your Honor,
Because
and
you're
then-
trying to make it personal. It's not personal.
Yes.
I'm passionate with the cause, but this is for the common good.
Yes, so can we submit, Your Honor, a specific
You are
provision
welcome to do that.
and also on the registry so that we are mindful of data protection? So on 2 points, we'll
In
submit
fact, why don't you grab the
proposals.
language?
Yes, Your Honor, can we?
That's good. Don't make me work hard.
Yes,
I'm
we
already
want to
working hard.
propose language on the bill.
Yama, you're fine? You already stated your position?
We will be submitting also our position paper.
Okay, sige. Alam niya ang problema ko palagi sa gobyerno. We will be submitting. We are preparing. That's why I don't like this idea of tatawagin pa. Kailangan nakasabay na sa law yan. Pag ginawa yung law, nalagay na yung education, nalagay na lahat yan, para hindi na sila magsasabi na gagawin pa nila. Alright? Anything else? On that note, I will hopefully this will be the last hearing. I will get your comments. I will draft the bill, and I will submit it. Then you can all take your positions at the proper time. You have my number. If you'd like to call me, I'm perfectly willing to call, or Dr. Susie, you can call her. So doctor to doctor. In the meantime, I thank you all for your kind thoughts, your very supportive attitude, and let us be the creatures of God for other creatures. Thank you very much, and this session is now adjourned. Thank you. Yes.